I've been in Barnum Fair pretty much my whole life. I was in the service for 4 years, but other than that, I've been around the Barnum Fair. I'm fourth generation. So I've been around it my whole life. My grandfather's won it a few times, and I've actually won the Derby once, and it's a mile race. That's the main attraction race. You win a bigger trophy, and then you get a blanket, and that's the featured race for the weekend.
I started at Barnum Fair. It was like in the early 70s, like 1974 or so, and we went up there, and it got to be, Barnum was a very big deal in Minnesota, and that we were running on Barnum before this track was even thought of. I started to race up in Barnum. That was before I was even out of high school, and this is kind of what I knew I wanted to do. It influenced me that I eventually wanted to do this, and I went to college, I used to teach school, but I always wanted to do this, and I've been doing this now for almost 40 years. And I tell you what, it was a great influence, and I'm glad we had it.
Everybody that remembers the county fair, I mean, there's a lot to see. They really put on one of the best fairs in the state. And the people that are taking care of it right now are real good friends of ours and grew up with us. So you had the continuality of seem to have the right people at the spot to keep it going. I think winning the Derby up there is my favorite memory. We won 2 or 3 of them. You have Gross Hecker down here on the outfield. Well, my dad bought a horse from Wilson House out in North Dakota, and they brought him back for the fair for us. And we put Gross on him, and Gross won the Derby that year with him. So.
It's actually where I graduated high school, there in Barnum, Minnesota. And I guess my claim to fame was I was, technically speaking, leading jockey there in, I want to think 96, 97, 98. It's one of them fair meets. It's the only one left in Minnesota, and a lot of history comes out of it as far as Canterbury and people that have been here. I grew up there. I was riding races, or ponies, I could say, when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I think I started riding thoroughbreds when I was probably 12, 13 years old. And a lot of the people that are here, they were here. My dad, who, he was riding races when he was a kid, when he was, I want to think, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Well, when we were kids, my father and mother would haul us around to the county fairs, and we started out with barrel horses and doing game shows, and then we started doing the racing at the fairs. So we would do a little of both, but we'd hit all the county fairs around that raced horses. My dad made sure that we didn't have the fastest horses always, but we rode hard and we took good care of them. So we did well when we went. I took my kids up there when they got a little older too, just to experience the fun of it. It's a blast. The pony races, they race all the way down to little boogers that come up past your knees, and they put little kids on, and some of them make it around, some of them don't, but it's pretty funny to watch. There's an adrenaline rush that you get even at a little bitty deal like that. So that took us to the one level to the next level, and then when I got here, I was too big to ride, but still worked horses here, and it just bring us to this point.
Miss Lifton used to actually do the flag before you'd take off, and my dad would say, if you don't get up in the front, you don't have a shot of getting up there. But we'd take them and we'd get all lined up in a straightaway, and she'd wave it, and we'd run down the stretch, and sometimes they make another lap with us. But it's super fun, I love to do this with my dad, of course, and my whole family gets involved because my mom used to train race horses, and my brother rides, so we'd all get to go up there and cheer each other on. It was super fun,
That was part of our life when we grew up. My dad was just a farmer, but he sold some cows to buy a couple of thoroughbreds for us, and actually kind of traded them. When I was a little kid, I had a pony named Chubby, and and he was never beaten at the fair in the small pony race. I rode him, my first race I was about 8 years old. Laddie's horse, his name was Icer Hood, and about 2 weeks before the fair they bought him, and we went down to the farm to see him. Next thing you know, I'm riding, never been on a thoroughbred, never gone a mile, never been in a jockey saddle. I wind up winning. Gosh, it was just from there on, I was hooked. And they sent me down to Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was the first big track I ever went to. So from our little county fair, graduated up to that, and went to several different tracks, the fairgrounds and Louisiana Downs and Churchill Downs, and it's really been a great life. And now I'm out riding, and I'm kind of living the dream.